Over there, look, over there. You see that?
What the hell?
These SCPs are brand new to the Foundation. They have been discovered by the Reddit community. Most of these you have never heard of until now.
You see that? Right there. Look.
Oh my god.
These SCPs have not been classified yet with the number. Most of them are just known by names. So sit back and listen to these 5 unknown but dangerous SCPs. Go. This SCP is known as Mold Ester Moon. Object Class Keter. Mold Ester is a sphere-shaped entity with an approximate diameter of 1.2 meters and a human-esque face, with an unnaturally large smile. Mold Ester moves at approximately 4 kilometers per hour in a straight line towards the nearest living, intelligent organism. Upon contact, Mold Ester will paralyze the host with eye contact. Once paralyzed, Mold Ester will suck the soul of the host until lifeless. There is no known method of stopping Mold Ester, as it ignores all matter and will pass directly through it. Mold Ester is to be kept in a large circular tunnel 100 meters below the surface at Site 85B. This tunnel contains a track system which guides a train-like living laboratory, which is to be staffed by at least 5 D-Class personnel and 2 scientists of Level 3 clearance or higher at all times. Track-guided lab will move forward at a constant speed of 4 kilometers per hour. Mold Ester will constantly follow the lab and maintain a distance of approximately 15 meters from the track-guided lab. Once every 2 weeks, Operation Tourmaline 22 will rotate the staff of the track lab. Should Mold Ester ever deviate from the normal behavior or escape its holdings at Site 85B, then Operation Wixtra 111 will be released to recontain it. SCP name: the Specter of Gobekli. Object Class Keter. The Specter of Gobekli must be contained within a small lidded clay jar in a 5x5 meter room at a site no less than 1,000 miles from civilization. No personnel are allowed to be within the room without special permission from O5 officers. Should the Spectre break containment, MTF MU-13 must be activated immediately and sent to recapture. Failure to contain the Spectre could result in an SK-class doomsday scenario, potentially escalating into an XK-class doomsday scenario. The Specter of Gobekli was first encountered during the archaeologist digs of Gobekli in 1996. A small clay jar, approximately 1 quart in size, was discovered. This jar is covered in a prehistoric writing that has as yet not been deciphered. It matches no writing or alphabet style in the world. When the jar was discovered, it was positioned in the exact center of Gobekli within several concentric rings that the archaeologists believe was a holy temple. New evidence suggests that this structure may have instead been a form of prison. The jar was open and the first sighting of the Spectre was reported, where it proceeded to migrate to the nearest city, scorch, and consume all life within. After deciphering some of the ruins on the foundation of the original structure, which appears to have been added later, presumably after the discovery of the writings, the archaeology team was able to perform a ritual and recapture the Spectre within the clay jar, where it was then discovered by an SCP team. Further analysis of the ruins indicate that the Spectre once roamed freely, possibly inspiring the image of death that permeates seemingly all cultures. If humans gathered in large enough quantities, the Spectre would become attracted to the site and consume all life. According to other inscriptions, once ancient humans discovered a way to contain the Spectre, civilization flourished, and there was nothing impeding its formation. SCP-SP-00KY-1, also known as the Scarecrow and Crow 1. During feeding times, all crows are required to feed on the fields directly in range of Scarecrow. Crow 1 will land on Scarecrow's shoulder. It will remain there for the rest of the feeding, glaring at its flock. Crows feeding must have a desire to eat, or some type of hunger to safely carry out the procedure. If a crow is underfeeding itself or is obviously staging its hunger, Scarecrow will eradicate the member. This process must be done at least 4 times a day by each flock. Study shows that these procedures were taught to every crow flock that regularly lived in the area from an unknown source. Unidentified personnel that trespasses the site are to be apprehended violently. They will be released from a hospital over at least 70 kilometers away from the site. False memories of a deadly flock of crows are to be replaced from the time of their apprehension. The Scarecrow is made of an unknown material. The Scarecrow regularly tracks over 20 flocks of crows a day. Of each flock consists of a single, rotted, sickly crow which will be referred to as Crow 1. These crows are seen little to nothing as D-class from the Foundation's perspective. Crow 1 is to sit atop the shoulder of the Scarecrow while the flock feeds. The Scarecrow shows no signs of life, with the exception of 2 events. Common events are seen that the Scarecrow will shriek when a crow is faking their hunger, in an event that one of the feeding crows are targeted by the Scarecrow. Remaining crows are to witness the punishment while eating intently. In a rare event that Crow 1 leaves Scarecrow's shoulder during the feeding procedure, roots that are unknowingly pre-attached will immediately capture any crow that attempts to escape the procedure. No explanation was discovered for Crow 1 to fly away. Further research will be attempted to understand the behavior of Crow 1. A test was planned to capture one of the instances of Crow 1. Here is a later message from Agent 04. Under no circumstances do I want researchers to have human interaction with the Scarecrow, and especially Crow 1. I expect you all to simply observe for now, on as its nature takes its cycle. They must not be exposed to your fears. If they see this, they will want to destroy you. If this happens, terminate Crow 1 involved and who is ever idiotic enough to disobey this simple order. In a recent study, it appears that Crow 1 holds the fate of every other crow within its flock. While every other crow has high social rankings in their home flocks, the crow are seen with low ranking statuses and are put in high-risk situations as we do with our D-class. Despite their high-risk jobs, D-class crows seem to do their job with little to no resent, and are seen to be gifted by the flock with toys and junk. Despite the praise that these crows get, they're still very low on social rankings, and seemingly to only initiate social interaction when receiving said gifts. These deeds done by D-class crows seem to give off a heroic status from their flock, and will be reverted back to D-class once their gifts are received. Strangely, like our D-class, the crows will have a main view of their D-class as easily dispensable, and they seem to acknowledge it clear enough that the D-class will understand. It is unexplained what these crows strive for besides praise, but Dr. Davison has noticed each Crow 1 feeding on mammals far from their flock, while they are asleep. Further observations show that Crow 1 are never asleep, and they appear to be filled with energy close to the Scarecrow. The object class of the Scarecrow cannot be identified. Only these crows understand the danger of this SCP. SCP, the Floating Shadows, Object Class, Euclid. A 2-kilometer security perimeter is to be established around the town of Lewiston, Vermont, and declared a radiation hazard to civilians. MTF-34 is to patrol the area between the town's limits and the edge of the security perimeter during daylight hours. However, all personnel must vacate the patrol area immediately if ambient light is below 10,000 lux. The anomaly takes the form of a group of shadows that follow anyone who ventures into the small town of Lewiston, Vermont. It is unknown if the shadows themselves are hostile, or are simply a manifestation of the anomaly. Only a handful of personnel have returned from the town since first contact in 1978. Survivors report seeing the shadows appear in increasing numbers and following them. Non-survivors were last seen approaching into darkened or shaded areas. First contact with the anomaly was established in 1978 in Lewiston, Vermont, following a series of missing persons cases. No victims were found after reports of the disappearances began. Sightings of floating shadows began 5 weeks after the first reported disappearance. The frequency and number of shadows increased with each sighting thereafter. Cases of disappearances escalated exponentially until no more civilians were present in Lewiston, Vermont. SCP agents were sent to investigate the anomaly. Of 4 agents sent, only 1 returned with an initial report of photographic evidence. SCP The Wonder Product. Object Class Keter. After application directly to the skin, the subject's pores excrete large quantities of green-brown fluid. The fluid has a high salinity and low density, suggesting it is an altered form of natural sweat. A D-Class personnel subject placed in a sterile containment chamber and instructed to apply the Wonder Product. The footage documents the test with the Wonder Product. After approximately 0.001 seconds, the subject begins to excrete fluid from their pores, increasing in flow until the subject was completely engulfed. After 94 seconds, the subject collapses due to pulmonary infusion, and the hazmat containment teams attempted rescue. After the beginning of the experimentation, flow of fluid suddenly ceased. The subject then collapsed, appearing to be a mummified husk. All fluid produced is currently being contained. However, external measurements have concluded that the mass of the fluid equals that missing from D-Class personnel. So far, density estimations have matched no categorized fluid in the Foundation's archives. Awaiting permission from O5 for further interaction with the Wonder Product. Hey everyone, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all for watching.